a head start on a book. And originally I was thinking I was going to do an open book. And then I thought, I think I'm just going to do a closed book. Like I did an open book and a closed book at Christmas. So this was the book that I did, the closed book that I did at Christmas time. And I think it's just beautiful. I just really love this book. And I have it sitting on a high shelf, a window shelf, as a matter of fact, that I made a couple of years ago in my guest bedroom. And so when it's sitting on top of that shelf, this is all you see. So at this time of year, that works out beautiful on that shelf. But when you want to show off that it's Christmas time, you just turn it over, show it off. So I think that's what I'm going to do today, is do just a book. And when I designed these decoupage tissues, I designed them specifically so that they would fit on book pages. And so I think the one, even though there's just several on here that I absolutely love, like I think I'm going to do the lamb since this is an Easter one. But all of these on here are Easter. This is a smaller version of that bunny that we did a few weeks ago that everybody fell in love with. And I love this bunny. You know I love these. That's why I put them on tissue. It's no surprise. Got some little chickies. And another pretty bunny. More chickies. And eggs. So all four of these are on one sheet. So I went and dug in my stash of books. And I think this is a perfect book. It's not as big as the one I just showed you for the Christmas one. And, you know, when I put a pretty mold border along here, I can do the same thing by sitting it up there on that shelf with all those pretty borders. So the book was blue, that same blue. And so I base coated it with a coat of fluff. And the color of the book is going to be Dixie Belle drop cloth, because I think this color just goes so well with all the colors in that decoupage tissue. Okay, so I'm going to get this binder here done. Okay, so I'm going to leave that open and let it just dry. So this is the front of the book, and I'm going to paint it with drop cloth. I just needed to cover up that blue. But in case you missed it, this is one of the Easter papers. I did quite a few for Easter this year. But we're going to do this design on the book, I think. But if you're interested in this paper, I think it's called Vintage Easter, I think is what it's called. Okay. And see, he fits pretty darn good on this book. Couldn't be any more perfect, honestly. So I'm going to just bend it over a little bit on that edge. I'm going to paint the pages gold. Okay. That looks pretty cute. So before I do that, I'm going to put one more coat of drop cloth on here. Okay, and I have like a million popsicle sticks around here. I like to stir rather than shake it all up so I don't get all of that dried goop around the lid. One of my favorites, and the set of books are sitting on that shelf, and because you put a really pretty molding on the binder here, they're just gorgeous, because that's all you see of the book on the shelf is the beautiful binders. We're almost ready. So this is the front of our book, and we're just going to, I want this to hang over just a little bit on this edge so I can just roll it around. And that works perfect on that edge. These papers fit these books just perfect. Okay, so then I like to just fold it back like that, and I like to use a little bit of saran wrap, or if you've got one of these tools, these work really well too. Let me see if my tool is clean. I like to keep them in a Ziploc bag, that way that felt stays clean. So we'll try using that. And Dixie Belle Satin Top Coat is a really good, really good medium for decoupage. So I'm just going to start off by putting what I call my anchor row at the top. And I see people doing decoupage all the time, and there's all kinds of ways to do it. I see people put their medium over the whole page and then hover their paper over the top of it and lay their paper down on top. That's certainly one way to do it. I don't prefer doing it that way because it's so easy to make a mistake and not get it exactly where you want it to be. And then you're kind of committed. So the point in painting the background of this book was so that this design really shows through. And it really does. And so then you just pull this back because you've got your anchor on there, so everything is perfectly positioned. And I like to just like work up to offload and then just work up to underneath there because you want to get up there really well. And you can pull it back just a little bit if you need to, but you really want to be sure that you don't have a gap. And then I just put down another section. And again, I'm just using Dixie Belle Satin Top Coat as my decoupage medium. I don't like to use Mod Podge because that is not archival, and over time it's going to crack and discolor. It'll yellow and crack. And you don't want to do this with just your fingertips because there's so much texture on your fingertips. That's why you can pick things up. So you do want to have a barrier. You want to use, you know, the plastic wrap or like that decoupage tool, a Ziploc bag, something besides the texture of your fingers. And I like to just do a section at a time. Now we're down to the end. We'll go and finish off all around our edges. Okay, and so I want to finish off this edge. I purposely put some overhanging there so it would just cover up this edge here. Just gives it a really nice finish. I'm going to stick that in there so it doesn't adhere to the page. I'm going to do the same thing on the top and bottom. It's just a little thin piece, but you know, details matter. You could cut it off even, but I just think it gives it a very finished look to it. Wouldn't you just love if somebody made this and gave it to you for Easter? And I'm going to just give this a quick dry before I do the binder part, because I don't want this sticking on anything. Okay, I'm just going to leave that in there just so it doesn't make contact, and that way I can tack down this edge. And I'm going to use a pretty mold to make a nice decorative binder on this book, and the pages are going to get painted gold. It's going to get all fancy, and I think I'm going to do the Harlequin on the back. I just love how that Harlequin looks painted in gold. If you didn't see the other one, I'll show you in just a minute. Okay, so now we have a nice finish on all 4 edges. And I'm also thinking, you guys, that I'm going to use the Pintar Crackle just on the cover of this. I won't do it today because I need this to dry really well, but I'm thinking I'll do that. But if you haven't seen this book, this is the kind of binder. I don't know if I'll use the same mold, but this is the idea. And then I did Harlequin on the back side of it. And this is drop cloth in gold. And I just think that's so pretty together. I just really liked it. So I think I'm going to do that with this one too. And so when it's sitting on a bookshelf, that's all you see when it's sitting on a bookshelf is that. So you don't even know that this is a Christmas book or an Easter book or any occasion book. You just see a pretty binder sitting on the shelf. Or if you had a stack of these on your coffee table. And you can pick up books at thrift stores for practically nothing. I'm going to dry this for a little bit more. This is one of my favorite molds. This is an IOD mold. And the one that's on that book is this one, I think. But I'm kind of thinking I will do this one. Is that the right width? Yep, that's perfect. So let me go get my clay. I keep it in the refrigerator, and I did put a link up at in the description of if you like using the FormFlex. I gave you the link for it. I think it's wonderful to work with. I'll be right back. Okay, so this is the FormFlex compound, and one of the things I really like about using this is that it stays flexible. If you just put it in a you know, like plastic container, it will stay flexible for a really long time, which just gives you a little more time to work with it. So this is cornstarch, and I'm just going to powder this up. And the instructions tell you to stick it down in your freezer for 20 minutes. And most of the time I've done that, but I did a bunch of molds last week and I was able to just pop them out. I didn't have to put them down in the freezer. So we'll see how this goes. So I'm just going to pull some off here and roll it into a, what do you call this? A log? That doesn't seem right. I'm going to roll it into a roll. Okay, and then you just start smooshing it down. How long I need this to be. So I am going to have to put a little piece on that end down there. Have you all used this before? I used to use paper clay all the time until Tammy sent me some of this because I was doing those Christmas ornaments with the snowflakes this last Christmas, and she told me that that would work really, really good. And it did. Made those ornaments stunning. I'm going to press it down real good. Get it down into that detail. And then I like to just take the spatula and just take off the top. Sometimes I can do a real good job and have just the right amount of clay in there. You want to have a nice flat back on it. I'm probably fussing with it more than I need to. Okay, put this back in my bag, and then it recommends that you store it in the refrigerator. So I like to follow instructions, and I think it's just going to come right out. Yeah. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? Won't that be really pretty on the back of that? So I just need to make like 1 more inch of it to fit down here for the length of that book. So I just need to make another little piece just to fit down here, and then I'm going to slice that piece off there. So you can see how easy that is. I mean, I like to use the acrylic for certain projects, and I had used the amazing paper clay for years, and I was real happy with it. I mean, I get really good results from it. But then when I was doing those ornaments, I needed that clay to lay down on those glass ornaments on its own, because if I did it with the paper clay, I ran the risk of it cracking if I forced it. And so Tammy happened to be watching my video that day, and so she sent me some, and bless her heart, she has a customer for life, because this is really good stuff. Okay, so now we have our little piece to fit in right there. Look how nice that fits in. And let me get my X-Acto knife. And I'm just going to leave it to dry right where it's at. This is a good spot to stop. We'll finish this up tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to paint the pages gold, like this one is. We'll paint the pages gold. Sandy, no? And let's see, what else are we going to do? We'll paint our binder here, and maybe even get the Harlequin on the back of the book, because I want to do the same. So we can probably get it all finished tomorrow. It's a fun, easy project, you guys. I really love doing these books, and I think they look so fantastic when they're all done. And you need to refrigerate it when you're finished with it. And it also tells you to stick it in the freezer when you've finished putting your mold in. So like when I was doing Christmas trees and stuff, I did follow the instructions, and those snowflakes, I did follow the instructions and put them in the freezer, and they just pop right out. But I discovered the other day when I was doing the borders that it was like they just fall out anyway. I have trouble even getting them to stay in there, so I don't need to put them in the freezer. But I'm just going to leave it sitting here on this book overnight, and then tomorrow come join me and we'll finish up this book. It'll be fun. So you guys, thanks so much. I really appreciate it. Come join me tomorrow and we'll finish up the book. It will come alive tomorrow. All right, you guys, thanks so much, and I'll see you soon. Bye.